happen, and I won't let it slide. It's not the first time Justin will do such a cheap tricks with poking eyes like those. His fight against Paddy will be his last name. UFC is only for the real fighters, not the cheater.
Were you surprised by Paddy's game plan?
I didn't understand his game plan even. He wanted to box with Gaethje, but he couldn't wrestle him, he couldn't box him. He just a little bit young and he has a better chin, but he's a trash can.
Just curious, what did you think about Paddy's chin? Because a lot of people say Justin Gaethje is the hardest hitter they've ever faced.
Yeah, but Paddy got knocked out like 15, 20 times. Yeah, Justin was like 3-4 years ago, he was different. Now it's like he's getting old, and it's last a couple fights he got.
Paddy's heart, the grit of this kid. I don't care that he lost the fight. He comes back and murders like most guys.
Yeah.
Like anyone that doesn't have the grit. Like obviously everyone, like myself and everybody else, is worried about how much a fight like this takes out of you. But he's super young.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I think he's young enough to bounce back from a fight like this and to turn it into a superpower moving forward. Because not many people survive Gaethje the way he does, the way he did, or like have moments of greatness late in the fight after taking the hits that he took.
That Scouser does not get knocked out. Oh my God.
I just felt like I did enough. I just felt like I did enough to get the job done. Paddy is getting the beat out of him right now. It looks like, Jesus, this might not end well.
It was almost like he understood the assignment. We're on Paramount. This is a new network. They're going to be new fans. We need to introduce them to what the UFC is. I think after watching that, everybody that was tuned in are going to be lifelong fans of the UFC. Because on this special night, there is not a sport in the world that can compare to the UFC. And tonight we have one of those special nights.
The experts were dead wrong about everything. What they predicted would happen in this fight, complete opposite of reality. And by the time I break down what actually went down in that octagon, you're going to see exactly why even the most seasoned analysts got played by their own expectations.
Saying stuff like, well, his entrance is good and it's all well and good to get the fans, but he needs to be able to fight. Obviously, we've seen him have great wins before, but to show the durability he had in that fight tonight, do you feel like even though he lost, he will be considered one of the best in that division moving forward?
No doubt about it. I mean, he was the favorite tonight. I think that's what fucked him. Every other one, he's the underdog and everybody thinks he's going to lose. Tonight, he's the favorite. I don't think that his game plan was the greatest. Obviously, tonight he showed he is tough, he is durable, and almost impossible. I mean, especially against Gaethje. And you're eating those punches from him. You know, it's one thing to say, listen, I'm going to come out. I believe in, say, you know what? It's the third round. I got 2 rounds left. I might want to try to take him down.
So after the arena finally stopped shaking from the crowd's explosion, something wild happened that nobody saw coming. All that pre-fight chatter about who would win and how it might go down. That conversation got completely flipped on its head, because now everyone was dissecting this fight frame by frame like it was the Zapruder film. And here's the crazy part. Before these two even stepped into that octagon, the MMA world was split right down the middle. You had one camp absolutely convinced that Paddy's relentless pressure and frantic pace would steamroll Gaethje, just overwhelm him with pure chaos and volume. Then you had the other side betting everything on Justin's legendary composure and knockout power to be the deciding factor. But what nobody anticipated was how that exact same split would play out in real time, moment by moment, like watching 2 different movies simultaneously. Every single exchange had fans and analysts questioning their initial predictions, making each strike feel personal, like their credibility was on the line with every shot thrown.
What an unbelievable performance. Paddy the Baddy, oh my God, he impressed the hell out of me. Incredible. He'll learn from that, but I tell you what, he's got what you can't teach. Heart, great determination, all that shit. Yeah, you can make tweaks. You can put the chin down, you can lift the hands up. What he showed tonight is that he is legit. The man is real, and that's for damn sure. He's at the hospital right now. He'll be fine. They're just checking him.
Now here's where Tim Welch's breakdown gets absolutely brilliant. This renowned coach zeroed in on something most people overlook: Justin Gaethje's surgical precision with those early calf kicks. And listen, these aren't the flashy head kicks that end up on highlight reels and get millions of views on social media. These are methodical, calculated strikes designed to systematically destroy your opponent's foundation. Think about what happens when those kicks start connecting. They don't just cause excruciating pain, they completely mess with your balance, screw up your stance, and turn your legs into dead weight. Once that crucial base starts crumbling, everything changes in the fight. Your movement becomes sluggish, your reactions get slower, and suddenly those lightning-fast exchanges that Paddy thrives on become predictable and readable for a calculated striker like Gaethje. In that kind of compromised state, Justin's devastating knockout power becomes exponentially more dangerous because his opponents simply can't move, pivot, or escape the way they desperately need to.
Very good at grappling, and I felt that he deviated from the game plan, meaning that if I was in his corner, you're going to move. One, he's got to keep his hands up here. I like the traditional look where you can move, you can elbow, you throw your right hand, right, left, high kick, push kick. You're just way more, this is standard. This is like the best option. But I still feel like he deviated from the game plan where I think he felt that he was going to be able to knock out Justin Gaethje, and I just don't think Paddy Pimblett has that torque. Not saying he can't do it, I just don't think he has the torque to knock out a guy like Justin Gaethje, who's been in wars with guys like Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. Max Holloway's knocked him out. He's knocked out Dustin Poirier. He's been in wars with Eddie Alvarez. He's just been in a lot of wars on the feet. But when you look at some of the things that, Khabib did to Justin Gaethje, he made it look easy. He took him down, past his guard.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild, and this was confirmed by multiple experts watching closely. The moments that put Paddy in the most danger were precisely when he would explode into those signature flurries. You see, when Paddy would unleash his furious combinations with that trademark aggression, his head movement would sometimes lag just a fraction behind his offense. And let me tell you something, against a surgical counterpuncher like Justin Gaethje, even a split second of vulnerability can be the difference between landing a shot and getting knocked unconscious. That tiny gap in his defensive positioning left his chin exposed, hanging right there for Gaethje to target during those chaotic exchanges. From Tim Welch's expert perspective, it was a terrifyingly simple equation. All it would take was one perfectly timed, devastatingly powerful counter from Justin, and the entire fight could end in an instant. The stakes during those specific moments were genuinely as high as they could possibly get in professional mixed martial arts.
Back to this entire game plan, okay? Gaethje was going to pressure fight him, walk him down, guns blazing, turn it into a dogfight, and hopefully he outlasts Paddy, okay? This whole game plan is banking on the fact that he knows he can take more, he can deal more, and he can capitalize on it later in the fight. Okay, because and to be fair, he's got legs to walk with that because he's done it time and time again. And round 3, we saw him be like, "Okay, I'm gonna take this round off.
I'm gonna back up a little bit.
Dude, I'm gonna stay at mid range. I'm not gonna walk you down and just let you come back a little bit. Try to build."
Now here's the fascinating paradox that even seasoned analysts struggled with. Despite the constant threat of a fight-ending strike looming over practically every exchange, Tim Welch refused to label this as simply a striker versus grappler matchup. And you know what? He's absolutely right about that assessment. Because when fights reach this elite level, those carefully planned strategies that fighters start with typically crumble under immense pressure. And contests like this almost always devolve into beautifully chaotic, unpredictable warfare. We're talking about scrambles on the ground, brutal clinch work against the cage where heart and willpower get tested, and those exhausting transitions that can completely dictate the pace of the entire bout. And here's the kicker. Those exact chaotic moments are where Paddy Pimblett has historically done his absolute best work. He possesses this uncanny ability to drag opponents into these grueling, demanding sequences that can totally flip the momentum of a fight. He might look hurt, he could appear stunned for a moment, but then suddenly, through pure determination and relentless fighting spirit, he creates an opportunity to seize control and completely reverse the situation.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it was weird. But then round 4 just puts his foot back on the pedal, maybe knowing he's got 2 rounds left. Bar fight Gaethje. It was Gaethje of old.
This unpredictable environment is exactly why Tim Welch described the fight as being decided by the slimmest possible margins. We're talking about a scenario where one perfectly placed strike, whether it's a punch, kick, or perfectly timed elbow, could instantly change the entire trajectory of the match. The danger remained that elevated throughout the contest, balanced on a razor's edge. Yet despite this constant peril, Welch actually leaned slightly toward Paddy, which might seem surprising given Geith's power. His reasoning came from the belief that across all the possible outcomes, all the different chaotic ways the fight could develop, Paddy would eventually find his path to victory more often than not. But here's what's truly revealing about this analysis. He admitted that none of those routes to victory for Paddy felt safe or predictable. It would always be a dangerous, precarious journey, but one where Paddy's unique skill set gave him a slight advantage in the sheer number of ways he could potentially win.
I don't want to look like a loser right now, but everyone saw I was better than Justin that fight, but the UFC wanted him to win. The lad smashed my eye with his finger. I had to play all of the rounds with a broken eye, which is not fair.
You saw him do it to Michael Chandler. He's taken on the highlight, Justin Gaethje. 26 wins, 5 losses, 20 KOs. The dude fucking KOs people. Early on, he'd calf kick the fuck out of people. He'd calf kick people where they couldn't take it anymore. He had many TKOs from calf kicks alone. The guy is just a dense fucking ball of muscle, built for fighting. 37 years old now. He's crumpled people with his left hook. He's crumpled people with his right hand. Paddy Pimblett is going to have to be very careful throwing his flurries on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje will sit down and rip a left hook, or sit down, drop his head, and launch a right hand. That's Justin Gaethje's ways to win. He could KO Paddy.
And get this, with every exchange, every thunderous impact, the expert opinions remained split right down the middle. It was like watching two completely different philosophies of combat colliding head-on. One side firmly believed that Paddy's wild, unorthodox movement combined with his deep grappling instincts would simply drown Justin in pure chaos. They thought Paddy could drag Gaethje into uncomfortable positions for extended periods, taking him completely out of his comfort zone as a precision striker. But the opposing camp put their complete faith in Justin's legendary patience, his fight-ending power, and his composure under pressure. Their belief was that Gaethje would consistently make Paddy pay for every reckless advance, every messy exchange he attempted. This fundamental disagreement turned the actual fight into something special, where literally every single clash felt like it carried the weight of potentially rewriting the entire narrative. The atmosphere in the arena shifted incredibly quickly because neither fighter allowed the other to settle into any kind of comfortable rhythm.
With the title around his waist, he earned it. Justin Gaethje's fought all these fucking monsters his whole goddamn career. Edson Barbosa, Donald Cerrone, Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Khabib, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Fiziev twice, Dustin Poirier again, Max Holloway. Like, holy shit. He's fought the elite. So I'd love to see Justin Gaethje get it done. If I had to put, fuck, this is hard. If someone gave me $10,000 to bet with, and they said, hey, put it on who you think's going to win. I'm going to say 60-40. 60-40. 40% chance that Justin Gaethje knocks Paddy Pimblett out. Hits him on his chin. When Paddy Pimblett's flooring, hits him right on his fucking, hits him right on the scouser chin. Boom. Gets dropped. 40% chance, I think. 60% chance this fight, Justin's not able to find him. It's a little bit, it's like a spastic, weird style. He's not able to find his chin. If Paddy Pimblett puts him on his back, it's going to be a long night for Justin.
Diving deeper into Tim Welch's masterful analysis, he approached the matchup through the lens of accumulated damage and precise timing, constantly referring back to Justin Gaethje's devastating calf kicks as early game changers. His core concept was deceptively simple yet brutal in its implications. Early leg damage, which Gaethje excels at inflicting, fundamentally alters the entire dynamic of combat. It doesn't just hurt a limb, it compromises your entire stance, severely limits your lateral movement, and most importantly, subtly changes how you react defensively when you see an attack coming. Welch also emphasized that while Paddy's aggressive rushes define his style, they can create extremely dangerous opportunities for his opponent. A patient, powerful striker like Justin only needs one clear opening to change everything with that perfect shot. However, and this shows the brilliance of Welch's analysis, he acknowledged that as the rounds wore on, the fight would inevitably drift toward those scrambles and chaos. And that's precisely where Paddy's natural confidence, his grappling intelligence, and his ability to be dangerous even from bad positions might give him the edge he needed.
Will you be served? With Pimblett? Maybe. Gaethje, experience, good striker. He's well-rounded everywhere. But he's got to use the assets of a smaller guy. We've seen it, where you got to box, you got to use your legs, you got to set traps. You know, he's got the capability of doing that. Outmaneuver, outflank Pimblett. You know, Pimblett, let me tell you, he has improved a lot over the last 2 years. He really has, bud. He has gotten better. He's gotten more. You could see he's come into his own. Confidence-wise, physically, he's in great shape. They usually all are. But he's improved. His striking has improved. He's a good wrestler, grappler. But he loves to strike. That's what's going to make this fight really interesting and good. They're both going to strike. I mean, for the most part, they're both going to strike.
Now when Teddy Atlas speaks, you listen, and this legendary boxing coach viewed the entire contest through the lens of a tactical mastermind. His insights were incredibly compelling, backed by decades of experience. He strongly emphasized the critical importance for Justin Gaethje to maintain smart footwork, proper positioning, and disciplined restraint. Instead of just planting his feet and trading shots in close quarters, Atlas reinforced that Gaethje's technical background would only matter if he applied it intelligently and avoided getting drawn into a crowd-pleasing brawl. In his view, that would represent a catastrophic tactical error. At the same time, Atlas gave Paddy significant credit for how much he'd evolved both physically and mentally. He described Paddy as noticeably stronger, more composed under pressure, and much more comfortable in those extended, uncomfortable exchanges. Atlas believed that youthful energy and raw determination could be a major advantage deep in a fight, especially when fatigue sets in and decision-making starts to deteriorate. From his perspective, Paddy had a greater ability to adapt and adjust his approach as rounds progressed, and this capacity to evolve mid-fight could make a massive difference in the championship rounds.
I would go with the over on this because I think the over-under is like
2.5 rounds.
How many?
2.5 rounds over minus 115.
All right, listen. Again, we have a pretty good record here, but, you know, I mess up once in a while. What are you going to do? That's why it's gambling. But I like the over. I like the over. I mean, if Gaethje fights the perfect fight, you never know. You never know. But I know who the judges are probably favoring. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. There shouldn't be anything about that. It should just be about what goes on in the cage or in the ring. But I can't help myself but think about things that I see. So maybe, you know, Gaethje would really have to do a job, I think, to get it, which he could. But I think I'd probably favor Pimblett a little bit. But at the end of
But here's where Max Holloway cut through all the technical analysis with one brutally simple question. Would Paddy Pimblett be able to absorb Justin Gaethje's legendary knockout power without completely breaking down? This straightforward inquiry gets to the heart of what makes Gaethje such a uniquely dangerous opponent. Holloway's expert take was clear. If Paddy could show the chin and mental toughness to survive that incoming punishment, then he definitely possessed the grappling skills to turn those dangerous moments into dominant positions and sudden momentum swings. And in a fight at this level, Those kinds of shifts can completely reverse everything in seconds. Holloway also made it crystal clear that Justin Gaethje, unlike many other fighters, never needs to land a high volume of shots to change a fight's direction. Every single well-placed punch, every perfectly timed kick he connects with, carries fight-ending consequences. It only takes one perfectly executed, devastating blow from Gaethje to instantly erase an entire round of hard work before Paddy can even establish any kind of rhythm.
If he can eat it, I can see Paddy catching Gaethje and maybe almost like a Oliveira fight, you know, catch Gaethje, hurt Gaethje wobble, and then, you know, get to Gaethje's back or something, maybe subble. You know what I mean? Like, Paddy is very well rounded. You know, he out wrestled wrestlers, he out grappled grapplers. He stands with you. You know, he doesn't care. He throws. You know, everybody be like, his chin is in the air. He takes shots. Yeah, he takes shots and he still walk forward. How long will that last? We don't know. And that's the question I have to this fight. Or what his reaction is going to be when Justin Gaethje catches him.
Finally, the relentless Murad viewed this entire contest as a true coin flip, a complete 50-50 proposition from start to finish. He clearly outlined two harsh, unforgiving paths for the bout, emphasizing that there was virtually no middle ground. The outcome would definitively be one of two scenarios. Either Justin Gaethje would systematically break down Paddy through consistent, accumulating damage, slowly wearing him down until he could no longer function effectively. Or Paddy would somehow weather that initial storm long enough to drag the fight into those chaotic, energy-draining grappling exchanges where momentum would gradually shift in his favor. From Murad's perspective, the deciding factor wasn't just technique, since both elite fighters possessed the skills to win. Instead, it came down entirely to pain tolerance and the ability to make smart decisions under extreme pressure. His key insight was this: over potentially 5 grueling rounds, with fatigue inevitably building, it's the mental and physical toughness to keep pushing through that suffering while still finding the right moment to strike back that determines who ultimately prevails when everything is on the line. So there you have it. Every expert had their theory, every analyst broke down their perfect game plan, but when two elite fighters step into that octagon, predictions go out the window and anything can happen. What we witnessed was a masterclass in how the smallest margins separate victory from defeat at the highest levels of mixed martial arts. The real question isn't who had the better strategy on paper, but who could execute under the most intense pressure imaginable. What do you think matters more in fights like this: technical preparation or the ability to adapt when everything goes sideways? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this expert breakdown helped you understand what really goes into analyzing elite MMA matchups, smash that like button, subscribe for more in-depth fight analysis, and hit the notification bell because we're breaking down the biggest fights and the wildest moments in combat sports. I'll see you in the next one. But wait, there's something absolutely crucial that none of these expert predictions could account for, and it's the one factor that makes MMA the most unpredictable sport on the planet. I'm talking about that invisible psychological warfare that happens between two fighters when they're locked in a cage with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. See, what the cameras don't always capture is how each fighter's energy affects the other. When Paddy starts building momentum with his relentless pressure, you can literally see doubt creeping into his opponent's eyes. But here's the flip side. When Gaethje lands one of those bone-crushing leg kicks, the psychological impact goes way beyond the physical damage. It plants a seed of hesitation that grows with every step his opponent takes. And this brings us to something that completely shattered everyone's expectations about this fight: the pacing. Nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted how the rhythm would actually unfold. Most analysts expected either a quick finish from Gaethje's power or Paddy dragging it into deep waters. What we got instead was something entirely different: a chess match disguised as a war. The first round alone proved that both fighters had done their homework better than anyone imagined. Paddy wasn't just rushing in recklessly like some analysts predicted. He was setting traps, using feints, and actually showing incredible patience for someone known for chaotic aggression. Meanwhile, Gaethje wasn't just sitting back waiting to counter. He was actively pressuring, cutting off angles, and forcing exchanges on his terms. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Remember all that talk about Paddy's chin being questionable? Well, when he ate the first real power shot from Gaethje, something incredible happened. Instead of crumbling or backing down, he smiled. Actually smiled. That moment sent shockwaves through the arena because it completely flipped the psychological dynamic everyone expected. Now let's talk about something the experts touched on but didn't fully explore, the cardio factor. Both fighters came into this bout in phenomenal shape, but conditioning in a fight isn't just about your gas tank. It's about how efficiently you can operate when your heart rate is maxed out, when adrenaline is flooding your system, and when every decision could be your last. Paddy's conditioning showed up in ways that surprised even his biggest supporters. Usually, fighters who rely on constant pressure start to fade when their initial game plan doesn't work immediately. But Paddy adapted his energy output round by round, like he had multiple gears nobody knew existed. When the wild rushes weren't working, he switched to more calculated bursts, conserving energy while still maintaining that psychological pressure. Geetha's approach to cardio management was equally impressive, but in a completely different way. Instead of trying to match Paddy's pace, he used his veteran experience to create breathing moments. Every clinch, every reset, every step backward wasn't retreat, it was strategic recovery. He turned defense into active rest periods, something only elite fighters truly master. And speaking of elite-level adjustments, the corner advice between rounds became absolutely crucial. You could see both teams making real-time strategic pivots based on what was actually happening, not what they planned in training camp. Paddy's corner was telling him to trust his grappling more, while Geetha's team was emphasizing patience and reminding him that his power was still the ultimate equalizer. But here's what really separated this fight from typical striker versus grappler matchups. The ground game, when it finally materialized, wasn't what anyone expected. Paddy didn't just take Geetha down and control him. Instead, we saw these incredible scrambles where both fighters were constantly improving position, constantly threatening, constantly making the other guy work. Geetha's takedown defense, which some questioned going into the fight, proved to be much more sophisticated than his reputation suggested. But more importantly, when he did end up on his back, he wasn't just surviving, he was actively working, creating scrambles and even threatening submissions of his own. It completely changed how we view his ground game going forward. The striking exchanges in the later rounds revealed something fascinating about both fighters' evolution. Paddy's boxing, which used to be wild and looping, showed incredible improvement. His combinations were tighter, his footwork more deliberate, and his defensive awareness much sharper. Meanwhile, Geetha was mixing and wrestling setups with his striking in ways we'd never seen before, keeping Paddy guessing about what was coming next. What really blew everyone's mind was how the fight's momentum shifted not just round by round, but sometimes minute by minute. Just when it seemed like one fighter was taking control, the other would find a way to flip the script. These weren't just lucky moments or random occurrences. They were high-level fighters making elite adjustments in real time. The crowd's energy throughout this entire war was unlike anything I've witnessed in recent memory. Usually, audiences pick a favorite and stick with them, but this fight had people cheering for both fighters simultaneously. Every significant strike, every takedown attempt, every scramble had the entire arena on their feet because they knew they were witnessing something special. And here's the thing that makes this fight a masterclass for future fighters to study. Both Paddy and Geetha showed that modern MMA isn't about being one-dimensional anymore. The days of pure strikers or pure grapplers competing at the highest level are over. This fight proved that elite fighters need to be dangerous everywhere, but more importantly, they need to be able to blend their skills seamlessly.